What's up, strongest men, women, and children from blocks all around the world? I am my block's strongest man, and I have an exceptionally special guest for you tonight. I consider him a mentor and the godfather of interviewing and strongman knowledge, Big Loz, Lawrence Chalet. What's up, Loz? Thanks for joining me this evening.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
How did you first get into strongman? I think this is a really interesting story we'd like to hear.
I was just a massive fan of strongman from a very early age. I kind of vividly remember watching O.D. Wilson pulling a truck and thinking that was just so cool. I was just a little kid at the time. And then I probably got more into strongman in my kind of teens. I was watching a lot of Magnus Samuelsson, Magnus Ver Magnusson, Sven Carlson, those kind of guys I was watching on TV. And eventually I was watching Britain's Strongest Man in 2004. And I just decided I want to join the gym and try this stuff. I'd never been in a gym before. I'd done a lot of sport. I was a very sporty kid. I was, high level rugby player. I used to be British champion at Kung Fu. I was a good athlete. So I was always very sporty, but I'd never really been in a gym. And I just, I said to my dad, I want to do strongman. He was like, okay, we'll find you a gym. I found a gym. I watched Britain's Strongest Man and then World's Strongest Man, always shown at Christmas in the UK. Mm-hmm. 2004 Christmas, I watched World's Strongest Man. I joined the gym 2005 January, and just found I looked for a competition online. It was really hard back then. Strongman wasn't like it is now, and I just managed to find one competition, and I entered it. I'd never touched any equipment. I've been training in the gym for 5 months. Didn't have a clue how I'd do. I remember turning up to this competition, getting out the car, and turning to my partner at the time, saying, "Sod this, let's go home." These guys were huge, way bigger than I was, and they all seemed to be quite cliquey. They knew each other. I was just some strange little, well, not little, but strange new guy that no one wanted to talk to. And I stayed there. I started the first event, and I actually did really well. Having never touched any of the kit, I ended up coming 8th out of 38 guys.
That's amazing. Wow.
And I think it was the first time I'd ever pushed myself. I smashed my PBs in basically every event. I mean, the kit I'd never touched, but like a deadlift, I think the deadlift was 220 kilos. So what's that? It's 480 pounds, something like that.
Yeah, 484.
Yeah. And my PB at the time was a 500-pound deadlift. It was the most I'd ever done. And with this 480, I did 13 reps. So
whoa.
I was obviously not pushing myself in the gym. Realized I was a bit stronger than I thought, did well, and then I was just hooked. I was like, all right, I really want to do this. Dedicated myself to it, found a good gym. My second competition was an open competition, and I came second to a really good youngster at the time in the UK. And then that qualified me for Midland Strongest Man. And then I went from Midland Strongest Man, I qualified to compete in Britain's Strongest Man. And basically I went from complete beginner 2005 to being at my first Worlds in 2008.
Wow, that's such a short time period.
Yeah, it's harder to do now. The standard's so much higher, but I was exceptionally good at certain things. There was my lower back, my leg strength, and my ability to move with weights was very good. I was extremely weak in pressing movements and certain other events that took a lot longer to get good at. But right from the start, I could move pretty well. I could hold my own in grip events, and just I think from my days of playing rugby and things like that, I could move, and I had strong legs.
Yeah, you said so many interesting things there. So number one, Gabriel Pena also has a background in rugby, so maybe this is a pattern that leads to a good, successful strongman.
A lot of the British guys, so Adam Bishop, Terry Hollands, we all come from rugby backgrounds. It's a bit like American football in the States. So you're going to be big, strong guys if you're playing those type of sports.
Yeah, I mean, I think let's compare and contrast a little bit. So they had an intramural rugby team in high school that I tried out, and it's I would say more violent and cardiovascular demanding than American football is. It doesn't stop nearly as often.
Yeah.
And I would say it's
for sure
more violent. Yeah.
Well, they're both tough sports. I mean, with American football, you can hit so much harder because you've got the padding and stuff. But yeah, it's they're both tough sports, and you're going to get freaky athletes coming out of both.
Yeah. The other thing you mentioned that piqued my interest was O.D. Wilson. Did he get robbed in that World's Strongest Man? Should he be a one-time winner?
I 100% believe so. 1990 World's Strongest Man, in my eyes, is O.D. Wilson. As good as Jean-Paul was, and I love Jean-Paul Sigmarsson, I really do think he was an amazing strongman, an amazing character, but 1990 belonged to O.D.
Yeah, I would agree with that.